I'm Zack Mennel. I'm an artist. I'm the live art commissioned artist as part of Dada Fest International 40. This year's theme is Rage and thinking about a quiet riot. Dada Fest is a festival program for, about and led by disabled artists, thinking about a breadth of topics throughout the program that's happening all through March, right to the end. And I'm here at the Blue Coat this weekend performing my piece Rage Reactor, which is exploring the field of nuclear semiotics and thinking about the trauma that the nuclear industry leaves on the landscape and will be leaving in future thousands of years, and entangling that with explorations of the nuclear family and inherited trauma and the traces that leaves on the collective psyche of the nuclear family. And my work is an installation piece that will be in the performance space at the Blue Coat, open from 11 till 5 on Saturday the 22nd and Sunday the 23rd of March. On the Saturday, Saturday the 22nd of March, I'll be stepping into an activation at midday for an hour. On Sunday the 23rd of March, I will be performing in an activation at midday, and then the final activation is at 3:30. And so those performances will be within the installation and changing the installation, so the installation itself will mutate across the weekend. So I work across performance, photography, writing and video, and this is sort of my first installation work at this scale. My practice is sort of really material led, so this piece has really been generated through research, looking at images, archives and videos from historic settings of nuclear research and nuclear industry, and then also researching that alongside my family's collective archive of videos and photos. And so there are symbols and signs that show up through this that might be recognisable to some of those that have an interest in nuclear projects. So my practice works through sort of layering and collage, and that's what much of this work does. It's bringing together multimedia elements. There are and older technology, so there's a CRT TV, there's a photo slide projector, there's an overhead projector, and then there's some digital projection as well of a video work using archival footage from both the family archive and the nuclear public domain archive, and alongside that with physical materials within the space. A lot of it's thinking through and exploring estrangement as a core concept, and a lot of these themes or concepts have come up through the process of making and researching it. So estrangement comes up in thinking about my family and traumatic situations that have occurred through generations. My grandfather was born in Liverpool, and he didn't know who his father was. He was born to a young, single, unwed Irish Catholic woman who came to Liverpool to give birth in 1926. So really fortunate to have made this work at Edge Hill Station with Metal Culture and residency for 2 weeks in January to really get a sense of the materials and the themes. And I found out while I was there that it's only around the corner that my grandfather was born on Durning Road, so I took a little 2-minute walk up to the place where he was born, which I found through the Liverpool City Registry. And so it's also a process of returning to some of those places or histories. Key motif or theme of the work is a teddy bear, which comes from this object, which is a tin with painted teddy bears on it, which really links back to my childhood and my birth and conception, because inside this tin is the amniotic sac which I was born in. And so this has sort of become a nexus point through which everything else is splintered off. And so there are some twisted teddy bears in the piece. There's some mess making. There's water. But yeah, I think estrangement is a key concept, and also complexity and allowing complex things to sit, and for joy to sit alongside horror. And for rage to sit alongside tenderness. It's opening a space for people also to step into with whatever they're bringing and to interpret the images, the sounds, the noises, the smells in whatever way connects with them. So Dada Fest is in its 40th year. Set up in the mid-80s in a very specific context under Thatcher government, which I think many know, did not serve Liverpool as a location, and that history is really entangled with disability rights and activism. And alongside disability rights and activism is always disabled artists right at the front. And so the history of Dada Fest is through and through linked with that social justice, with disability rights activism. And I think now, more than ever, we are slipping backwards. This week alone, we have seen the government making moves to essentially emulate the cultural values of neoliberalism of Thatcher, and removing the support and putting a whole marginalised and already at-risk population at further risk. We know austerity doesn't work, and Dada Fest is a wholly political thing, because it has to be, because disabled people are constantly having to advocate for their right to exist. And I think now more than ever, and I think particularly this weekend, there are going to be lots of conversations about what can we do, where can we go from here, and part of that is sort of those questions are coming up in my work, and in thinking about how do we move on from trauma, from difficulties, or how do we stop it continuing. And I think in a political and social cultural context, that's very present right now. And Dada is invaluable for giving a platform to artists, disabled artists who otherwise wouldn't have the opportunity, and doing so in an accessible manner that supports them through the process of making it. I felt incredibly supported by the Dada team, unlike any other organisations I've worked with. They're an accessible organisation, they are disabled led, and also that reflects in how they cater and deliver accessible cultural events throughout the year to audiences, with partners like Mennel and the Blue Coat and the Unity Theatre. It's invaluable for Liverpool, I think. It's invaluable for the UK. Dada Fest is one of very few, and likely to be diminishing under the current moves of the government, organisations that cater and deliver support and cultural opportunities to disabled artists and disabled audiences, and non-disabled audiences alike.